What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and welcome to another Resplendent review. Today I'll be taking a look at Exalt Chrom and going to be going over the builds that you can run on him in the modern times, and at the end I'll have a special bonus segment. So Exalt Chrom is a Gen 2 Sword Cavalier with Sealed Falchion as his preferred weapon. So he got an alt before we had these attuned units and ascended units, and he was pretty much one of the few units who got an alt where he didn't really have any kind of extra type. So Sealed Falchion does give him effective damage against dragons, and if his HP is below 100% or if he has got any kind of bonus active on him, then he gets +5 to all of his stats. And the weapon refined for this did come out like 4 years ago, so it is kind of outdated. Still, he can get +10 to his attack speed and defense. Doesn't really get that for resistance, and then he just has follow-up denial, which is not really all that useful nowadays because we have a lot of null follow-up units. And even units with half null follow-up are going to be able to bypass this. So this weapon has got really outdated, and unfortunately for the Sword Cavaliers, there's not a lot of good options that he can run at the moment. And he shares this weapon refine with Lucina, Mass Lucina, and regular version of Chrom. When it comes to his stats, even after the Resplendent stats, his stats are a bit wonky. You can compare him to Ares if you want to compare him to a 3-star 4-star Cavalier. But unfortunately, the thing is that Chrom is a 4-star special unit, so getting the merges on him isn't really all that easy. And Bertram is also a bulky Sword Cavalier who's going to be having as much defense as him, but has got lower speed and a bit more resistance, which would have been much better for him because at least he would be slightly more bulky as a Cavalier. And even though Ares does have an outdated weapon refine, he can still function with the Vantage playstyle. And now that we've got legendary female Lear, you could give him the damage reduction piercing, so it's at least a bit more unique compared to what he has got with Sealed Falchion. And his stat spread is in a really awkward position where he doesn't really have a lot of speed, but he also does not dump his speed. But he does have decent enough attack and defense, which you could stack up if you're going to be investing in him. Unfortunately, Exalt Chrom came a bit earlier compared to a lot of the other Chroms who got their preferred assist, and without that, he's not going to be standing out much. And because he's not easy to merge, even back then he wasn't really seen all that much, and he's not going to be seen much now either, even with his Resplendent stats and Resplendent outfit. If you want to build him up with an arcane weapon, then Arcane Elutnir can work, but it's not the greatest arcane weapon. And unfortunately, there's not any kind of slow good arcane weapon that he could give to him, but at least this gives him a 2 cooldown no quarter that hopefully he could trigger in a single round of combat. You could try and stack up his attack and defense with attack defense clash and lull attack defense 4, and alarm attack defense can give him the extra stats and also the Kanto status, so it could be run, but odd defense wave can also work out. That could give him the full tempo effect. Wyvern Katana is also a really good weapon that you could run on him, and with Gambit, it is going to be giving you 15 true damage per hit. So it could work out with the dual phase brave effect of Wyvern Katana, and it's a pretty nice low weapon that you could run. It's not really an arcane weapon, but it can still function in the mixed phase, and with Gambit you're able to get the damage reduction, which is not much nowadays because it is pierceable, so Gambit has fallen off, but still this could be run. And because this is not an arcane weapon, you can have that 5 cooldown ether that you can make the full use out of with Gambit. And Guard Echo skill could be run as you're not getting the guard effect out of the weapon, so it could be an option. And if you want to go all the way with the Wyvern Katana build, then in the future whenever Attack Defense XL comes out, that could be run in his slot A. And Attack Defense Near Trace could also be run so that he could get that fixed Kanto 2 at the bare minimum, and then he could run no quarter with Emblem Marth. So he would have a 2 cooldown no quarter that he could easily trigger, and then he would get the flat damage reduction with Attack Defense XL and get that Kanto with his Thought Beast skill. And because he can set up the Pathfinder with the Smoke skill, he can provide some support to his teammates. And unfortunately his stat spread is a bit weird, with speed not really too high and not really too low. But if you really want to speed stack on him, then I guess Arcane Devourer is pretty much going to be the option. Unfortunately, the +5 stats is not as good as compared to Arcane Feldstone, which gives you +14, and Chrom would have used +14 to all of his stats really well, but this at least allows you to retaliate back with no quarters because of the special charges, and it can also give you the full null follow-up if you have more speed. Now he does have enough speed where you could run him with Potent 4, and this way he's able to have the potent follow-up attack. And with this weird speed allocation, this is something you could make work at max investment, especially if you have an extra Bridal Charina. An alarm attack speed is going to be needed in this slot C so that he can get Canto 1, as he's not going to be getting Canto out of the weapon. And if in the future we have a better arcane weapon that gives you plus 14 to all of your stats, then he's going to be lacking that because he really needs stats, especially to his speed. No Quarter is going to be his best special because you really need that damage reduction piercing, and he can have good enough attack stats, so he can make use of this at max investment. And without a Gambit build, you're going to be able to use this low cooldown special. If I had to give him a better refine, then I would definitely change the icon. I kind of miss the icons when they used to be unique and not just generic stat effects slapped onto an image. So he would have the rightful king icon, and he is going to be having that reflected in his refine. So Seal Falchion is still going to be giving him that effective damage and plus 10 to all of his stats, including resistance now, but he also gets the guaranteed follow-up attack, which does help if you're trying to stack up attack and defense on him. And because he's Chrom, he needs to have something to go when he uses an assist skill like reposition or swap. So that's why he's going to be getting plus 6 attack and defense, the treachery status, and the unhindered movement status, which is going to be making it so that he's going to be having better movement even against trenches. And treachery status is a bit of a callback to Realm Lucina having this status, but she gives out this status to the other units, while Chrom is going to be only having this to himself. And he also gets the visible attack and defense, so it does have good synergy with treachery, and this way he can hit a lot harder, but he's going to be having the isolation inflicted on him, so he cannot just use this multiple times like young female Robin. And then with his weapon refine, I'm going to be having plus 5 to all of these stats, and the follow-up denial that he already had in his weapon, which is not really too valuable, but he's going to be having the special cooldown -3 jump before his first attack, and this is kind of reminiscent of Rightful King, how it makes your specials proc a lot more. So I wanted to reflect that in his weapon refine, and with the special jumping, he's able to trigger No Quarter instantly, which is really amazing for anyone who's not Winter Dimitri. So let me know what you think about my refined theory craft, and I hope you all enjoyed. You can click the link on your screen right now to check out my refined review of this month's weapon refines, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as functional as this Chrom having a preferred assist. So that's it, I'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much for watching and have a great day.